Ravens flock, happy Wednesday. It is October 23rd. Welcome inside the vault for a lunch hour live stream. I'm Bobby Trossett, as always, joined alongside Sarah Ellison. We are chocked full. And what if I told you, partner, that two things just came down the timeline within a matter of minutes that we didn't even have on our agenda? One definitely matches up with precisely what we're going to talk about right now, which is the excellent injury news that the Ravens received within the last few hours. But on top of that, Keaton Mitchell, Sarah, his process of coming back from last year's ACL injury. That's right. Jeff Zaribek just moments ago of The Athletic tweeting out that the Ravens are planning for Keaton, who's been sidelined since sustaining that major knee injury last December, is going to start his 3-week practice window this week, according to Jeff's sources. Mitchell has been on the PUP list to start off this year. So that is that. On top of that, Sarah, for a fourth week in a row, a Baltimore Raven has been named the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. I think they enjoy sending these out the second we start our shows
at noon
on Wednesdays. But Lamar Jackson, unsurprisingly, is your AFC Offensive Player of the Week. It's gone week 4, Derrick Henry. Week 5, Lamar. Week 6, back to the King. And now week 7, Lamar. So 4 straight weeks, 4 straight wins, 5 straight. And they are there's a lot happening right now.
There's a lot happening.
Let's just say that.
Let's talk about Keaton first, since that's the breaking hot news right now. And by the way, I see you guys saying that this shirt is tough. I'm going to explain to you how you can win this in just a moment. Okay. But Keaton Mitchell, first of all, the Baltimore Sun reporting was correct. Good for them. We've referenced it a few times on the show. We just finished week 7. It's October. The Baltimore Sun said around after week 6. We just finished week 7. It is October. What's the date today? October 23rd. And the 3-week window begins. I don't imagine he'll be back within the first or second week. So we're talking November. Bobby, Keaton Mitchell, if all goes well, we just saw that with Mollett, he had a bit of a setback, right? And it wasn't even with his injury that he was out for, but he had a setback with the hamstring. If there were no setback, you're telling me in November, we're going to add Keaton Mitchell to this mix? And it might take a minute to figure out how it's all going to come together and who's going to get what snaps. But that's a good problem to have. I believe Todd Monken will figure out this quote-unquote problem to add Keaton Mitchell into the mix with the King and Justice Hill. So absolutely excellent news for the Ravens on offense. While other teams are out there making trades right now, some of the Ravens' big playmakers are coming back.
Unreal. Yeah. So again, within a matter of minutes, 3 different pieces of news items has come down the timeline, all 3 of which are either directly involved with the Ravens or indirectly, but will matter coming up this weekend. The third that we have not mentioned is Kevin Stefanski, Browns head coach, making it clear just a few minutes ago that Jameis Winston is going to start under center for the Cleveland Browns coming up in this week 8 matchup for the Ravens to face off with the Browns coming up on Sunday. So again, Lamar is your AFC Offensive Player of the Week. Keaton Mitchell's return could be imminent, at least beginning the process of returning this week. And Jameis Winston, not Deshaun Watson because of the Achilles, and not Dorian Thompson-Robinson because he's banged up as well, is going to be starting for the Cleveland Browns. Should we let everybody know the special nature of what's potentially in play here from a giveaway standpoint before we dive into the actual excellent news? I mean, those are excellent pieces of news.
Those are excellent news. It's just what we hadn't planned on. But yeah, let's dive into it.
Exactly. So yeah, before we get into the excellent injury news, just so everybody knows, we're going to tell you more about this later on in the show. But we're excited to be working with Homage, which is a merch, retro Ravens gear company, apparel company.
NFL.
And not just Ravens, but you can be eligible for a free Homage Ravens t-shirt, okay, like Sarah's wearing right now, for example. Show that sucker off. By doing the following
this is
steps,
my favorite, bro.
Essentially.
Angry runs with Derrick Henry? Come on now. Everybody needs this t-shirt. Come on.
Look at you. You're rocking it. It
I'm
suits
so
you.
happy with it on right now. I feel angry with it on in the most positive way possible.
In order to be eligible for one of those suckers, one, subscribe to the vault if you haven't already. Like this video if you haven't already. Leave a super chat comment. It can be as little as $1.99. Can go all the way up to what you so choose. And explore the Ravens gear that we have included as a pinned comment in the live chat. It's also in the show notes as well. They got a lot of great stuff up there, including some varsity jackets that I certainly am looking forward to checking those suckers out. So anyway,
So just to clarify, you can win any free t-shirt that you see. If you want to choose the Angry Runs from Derrick Henry, that's fine. But click on that link and you can go see all the different type of gear that they have. But so among those that are giving super chats today, Bobby and I will choose a winner among those that have the super chats that clicked on that link, subscribe to the show, and like this video. You have to do all of those things, and we will choose from those super chats today. Along with those other requirements, we will choose who will get a free t-shirt by the end of the day.
Off we go. Thanks for being here. Already close to 1,000 concurrents joining us this afternoon. So thanks for being here as always. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you can be notified of when we're dropping our daily Ravens live content. And today happens to be centered around this from Ian Rappaport of NFL Network, who tweeted out earlier that Marlon Humphrey did not suffer a major knee injury last week, Sarah, in Tampa Bay. That is according to Ian's sources following some tests. He's walking around with little discomfort. After 2 picks last week, Humphrey's status is up in the air this week. I'm sure that'll be reflected in the upcoming practices. And time will tell how quickly he can recover. That according to Rap Sheet. But the big note over all of it, Sarah, is that obviously he avoided what looks to be disaster.
Absolutely. This is also excellent news. We saw this video yesterday. Let me mute it in just a second here. There we go. Just wanted, this kind of goes along with what we saw yesterday. This video that was circling the internet yesterday. Marlon Humphrey in the second half doing squats, testing that knee. So we had concluded like, hey, we don't know all the information. We don't have x-rays. We don't have access, but he didn't look like it was like going to be a season-long injury, right? With the way he was moving. Certainly ginger, but not a season-long ending injury. So this news right here goes along with that. He's walking around with little discomfort. That's great news. They did an MRI. Nothing major there. Bobby, this is huge news for the Ravens. Keaton Mitchell is going to be, at this point, icing on the cake within the run game. Marlon is the cake right now. He might be one of only a few pieces of cake on the defense that's working right now. Right now, PFF has him as the NFL's highest, greatest cornerback over the past 2 weeks. All cornerbacks across the league. He is the highest graded. May have something to do with 2 picks last week before he left. But his grade over the last 2 weeks, 92.0. The next best graded cornerback, excuse me, is 83.2. That's how good Marlon has been. I want to read this little snippet from Ravens film study, Ken McCusick. He went through play-by-play everything, some of the big contributions that Marlon had before he went out with a knee injury last week. At the end of it, Ken McCusick says this: Marlon's plays on the ball this season have not only been critical in 2 of the last 3 wins, but they give more credence to the notion he'll be an outstanding safety when the time comes. Right now, he's headed for a Pro Bowl year at safety if he can stay on the field. I don't know if he means cornerback there. But Marlon Humphrey has been open to the idea of being a safety. And I think bringing that up the last 2 weeks, those two picks last week, Bobby, were completely him reading the quarterback's eyes. Just savvy veteran moves. Also on the second pick, he just held on to it after running into Nate Wiggins and held on to it with one hand against his face mask kind of / helmet there. So the Ravens need him. The Ravens have been on ice skates when it comes to stopping opposing quarterbacks. And the only thing that put a stop to it against Joe Burrow, and then this last week with Baker was Marlon Humphrey coming up in very timely moments to turn the ball over and get the momentum on the Ravens side. So to say that he hasn't been lost this season, who knows if he'll be back this week, but to know that he will be back, that's music to my ears with the way this defense is playing.
Look at where he stands. I mean, it's undeniable that he's having a tremendous bounce back season after last year below his standards, both with performance and availability. But only Xavier McKinney in Green Bay has more interceptions than Marlon does with 5. Marlon tied with a couple other players for second in the entire league right now through 7 weeks with 4. So, and keep in mind too, this is a secondary that will potentially be getting Arthur Maulet back as well, which we'll reference a little bit later on this upcoming weekend in Cleveland.